Welcome back to the Morning Show here on Arise News. Let's change the conversation at this time. Recently in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, a federal high court varied the bail conditions granted the convener of Revolution Now movement, Omoyele Sowore, and his co-defendant, Olawale Bakare.
Arise News correspondent Chima Nwakwo, who was at the court proceedings, reported that Sowore will no longer be required to pay a security deposit of 50 million naira and that his co-defendant, Olawale Bakare, will now pay 20 million naira.
Counsel to Omoyele Sowore, Femi Falana, prayed the court to vary the bail conditions for his client. He argued that the court had earlier ordered that Sowore be granted bail unconditionally. He explained that Sowore, who is a teacher at an American university with the family, needs to get bail so he can work and earn a living.
The court has reviewed the bail conditions and has cancelled that aspect of the bail, set aside that aspect that requires the deposit of money. No, that has been reviewed. That's why we came here, because we didn't agree. No, but I'm not going to tell you whether it's right or wrong. We have come to call for variation, and the court has granted our application for variation of that aspect of the order.
In his counter-argument, counsel for the federal government, Hassan Liman, argued that there was no irrefutable evidence to prove that Sowore is indeed a teacher at an American university. He also said that a citizen's right to freedom of expression does not supersede national security.
The application for variation was made by the defense, and the court granted them the variation to the extent for Mr. Sowore that the initial deposit of 50 million naira shall no longer be paid, but they shall execute security for bond. While for the second defendant, Mr. Bakare, his own security, which initially was 50 million, but it was not to be deposited in court, is now reduced to 20 million naira.
Ruling on the bail variation, Justice Ojukwu waived entirely the earlier requirement that Sowore should deposit 50 million naira as security. She also reduced the amount attached to Olawale Bakare's bail to 20 million naira. Justice Ojukwu did not vary any of the other bail conditions. Sowore will still have to produce two sureties and the sum of 100 million naira each. They must also submit the tax clearance certificates and have landed property in Abuja. Hearing of the case will continue on the 6th and 7th of November. Chima Nwakwo, Arise News.
On there for Chima Nwakwo of Arise News. We're being joined now by Akin Sowore, a relation of Omoyele Sowore, one of his legal counsel in the ongoing accused. Great to have you. How are you doing, sir? Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Mr. Akin Sowore?
I can hear you, yeah.
Good.
I'm with you.
All right, it's a joy talking to you this morning.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Good morning. Let's talk about what's on ground now. What work is going on as regards perfecting this bail? And was it really what you wanted as regards varying the conditions of this bail?
Well, of course, the bail condition was before now stringent, and we came to ask for no variation. But the variation, as far as we are concerned, too, is still very harsh because, number one, those gray areas of the, the condition were not still, granted. Of course, from 100 million, naira to 50 million, and this time around, Justice Ojukwu granted that he shouldn't need to come and deposit 50 million naira with the registry of the court, but he has somebody, a surety should come around, like some. So this time around, the restriction, his restriction from other place except Abuja is still, not varied. So with this, we are very, concerned that, the justice system of Nigeria shouldn't, be like this because, of course, the judge has, power to grant, or the discretion to grant or not grant. But the fact remains that the act, in the relevant section of the act, ACJ, it says that, a bail condition must not be too, excessive. So in the light of this, we are saying that the bail condition is still very stringent and excessive.
And make us understand this.
Concern.
Because the understanding was that your clients, the counsel went to court to ask for these variations that were granted. That's the understanding. Were you denied any variation?
Of course, if you go by the details of the earlier, bail conditions, we came for a variation that will be liberal, allow him to, go on his businesses, because after all, he's still, presumed to be an innocent and he should as well, go on his, businesses while he will be coming to, for the trial. But this time around, the big condition is still that he shouldn't travel out of Abuja, which of course is worrisome. And we believe that aspect was part of, our prayers that he should be, given the freedom to, travel while the trial will be going on, expeditiously. But that aspect, which is a serious, gray area in the condition, was not granted. Our client is not Abuja based. He doesn't have a house in Abuja. No, how if you restrict him to Abuja, where do you expect him to live? Are they going to provide accommodation for him in Abuja, or they want him to be on the street or to be on the express, or where? So that's our condition. That's our concern. So we are looking for a situation whereby the justice system, as it is detailed in our act, be prevailed. So that's exactly
I just want to talk about
our concern right away.
Perfecting the money securities and the sureties. I mean, have you guys gone as regards that? Because I also hear you guys are trying to push that down and say that might be a little bit too stringent for your clients.
Okay, you mean what?
The money securities and the sureties.
Okay, the security and the surety. You mean the security and the surety?
The monetary sum in all of this.
Oh, okay. Well, the point is, if we are talking of the sureties here, and the certain situation in Nigeria is that a lot of people are, very much, afraid of the insincerity of government, and they are declining coming around to, standing as surety, knowing fully well that the government is not sincere, and that they can, you can imagine somebody coming to say that he has 50 million and all this, and before you know it, the EFCC, that is an arm of the government, will start, pursuing the person here and there. Not that Sowore is not loved by the people. Sowore is loved by the people, and the people have, if it were to be a normal situation, people have loved to come around to stand in as surety. But of course, we are still trying to perfect the bail condition right away. Telling some people who has a large heart to come around and stand in as surety for him. The issue of the security or other, aspect that the judge envisaged or the court envisaged, we have told them that is, we shouldn't worry anything about it. It's not a criminal. He doesn't have any criminal record in his life, and as a result, we expect him, won't on bail. And if he's granted bail, he will always come around to stand in for the trial. So that is what we are assuring the court. And on this basis of that we are saying that he should be given a bail on liberal terms. And that's exactly on the part of in our process to get the bail perfected. We are still being restrained by the fact that people are not really coming out to bring in the needed sureties requirement. So because not that people don't have the properties and around Abuja and all the rest, but people are capitalizing on the inconsistency of the government and the kind of government operation in Nigeria, whereby everybody is scared. Everybody could be a victim of this their draconian rule, and that is exactly what is the issue right away. And the fact that she were right from time, it's not like the politicians or the reckless people in Nigeria that has houses everywhere in the country. He doesn't have a house in Abuja, and right from time he only comes to Abuja to do his normal businesses and go out. So if you say that you should look for people in Abuja, he doesn't have a friend among the looters in the country who have houses and big mansions everywhere in Abuja. So it's difficult for him to get now because he's not been part of them. So that has been the reason why the pay condition is a bit difficult now to actually perfect.
Well, we are seeing here that the prosecution counsel objected to the application of a variation based on the ground that he bordered on national security. And we see that the last arraignment, Sowore was still addressing the media and chanting the word revolution. The judge, Chief Justice Ijeoma Ojukwu, has said that he shouldn't address the media in any way. What's your reaction to this?
Of course, like our lead counsel, always proceed to each time we get to court, saying that there's no law in Nigeria prohibiting anybody from, talking about revolution or talking about revolution. Revolution itself, is a mere, phenomenon. There's no law that says nobody should mention revolution. Of course, if the system is bad and we need to graduate from the system to another, favorable situation, it needs a revolution. So, of course, the issue of not granting an interview to, media should not come because it's a derogation to his right of, species and the right to, freedom of right, as enshrined in Chapter 4 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999. So, all these cannot be accommodated, in the system, and we can't agree to that because, number one, it will amount to, a derogation to his right. It amounts to violation of his, fundamental, rights, which of course is, not acceptable by us. So that is the reason why we are saying that that aspect should be varied. But of course, the judge didn't vary that aspect, and we are still concerned. We are still very much concerned about that. But like you said, we have an option, of challenging some aspects that we're not comfortable about. So I think we'll definitely seek a redress in those areas that we feel, we are not comfortable about. But some of those legal ones that we can actually meet if really people are, or if we are, trying to reach out to people who can be of, help in that regard, we'll do that. But definitely, I don't want to, preempt the court, but definitely we are going to seek redress on most of those ones that were denied. All
right, Mr. Akin Sowore, we'll come back to talk about the way forward and why it's so difficult to perfect these bail conditions that have been varied so far. We'll go on a quick break and we'll return to discuss some more with Mr. Akin Sowore, a relation of Omoyele Sowore and one of his legal counsel here on The Morning Show on the Rise channel. Join us again. Welcome back. You're still watching The Morning Show here on the Rise News, and we still have from our Abuja studios Mr. Akin Sowore, a relation to Omoyele Sowore and one of his legal counsel in the ongoing legal battle of his treasonable felony charges. Thank you so much for staying with us, Mr. Sowore. Let me just, take you back a bit. When the first bail conditions were set, we did have members of the council here, this legal team right by my side. And it was the fact that the economic realities on ground, it wasn't reasonable for anybody to pay this amount. And now you have told us, even after the variation from the last hearing, you are telling us that this is still stringent. And I want to ask you, because Omoyele Sowore contested in the presidential election this year, he did have a GoFundMe account, and he realized so much money. Very transparent, some would say, but it was a lot of money. Don't you think that now that it's time to bail him and it's so difficult to get these sureties, isn't that a pointer to your client that perhaps a lot of people did not buy into this revolution movement of his? Okay, unfortunately, guys, we've lost Mr. Sowore communication. But we'll try and connect back with him as soon as we can. This is a conversation that is ongoing. Mr. Omoyele Sowore is a social activist. He's popular. A lot of people have come around him during the last election. And so why is it so difficult to get two sureties and this monies at this time? I think a lot of people want to understand that correlation. He realized over 60 million naira during the campaigns. And we want to understand, Mr. Akin Sowore, thank you for staying with us. We are connected back again. So I was asking you, the realities on ground now, is it a pointer to your client that his Revolution Now protest or movement is not one bought into by the public?
Okay. Hello?
Go ahead.
Yeah. I can hear you. The point is that it's not like the Nigerians are not in love with Omoyele Sowore, or that they are against his, revolution now in movement. Not that. Just about, the tyrannic, nature of the government in Nigeria here, that everybody, is so scared about, coming around the government or talking against, since we don't have, any intervention from anywhere. If anybody is apprehended on the, basis of, challenging the government. And now people are really, scared, and the government is really gagging the entire, public of Nigeria, from, coming around, talking or criticizing the government or associating with anybody who is criticizing, the government. You can imagine the EFCC, all sorts of anti, graft, commissions coming around people, victimizing people, all around, if they are trying to do one or two things. That's just the reason why, it's been so difficult for people, to come around. Not that they are not in love with Sowore. You can imagine a lot of people who have been gagged. Even the system in Nigeria, the court system in Nigeria is being gagged. So, everybody is in palpable fear, trying to come around, helping each other, in a situation like this. So I want to assure you that the entire Nigerian, public is apprehensive about the, government in place in Nigeria. So that is the reason why it's been difficult for people to come around, because they too, they have all their, arsenals everywhere, hunting people who may want to come and, assist in the perfection of the bail. So that is just about the situation, not that Sowore remains, the lover of the people.
Okay, Mr. Akin Sowore, I'd like to substantiate that with facts, that the government is sort of like witch hunting people, like you said, that are trying to perfect Sowore's bail. And secondly, do you think if you get all the conditions right this time, the bail will still be perfected? Remember the antecedents. We remember the melodrama it was when lead counsel, the senior advocate of Nigeria, did try to perfect that bail. All of a sudden, he was charged again to court. And we know how that rigmarole role went on for some time. Are you confident that once you perfect this one, that Sowore is going to get bail, is going to get his freedom? And I would like to hear those hard facts about the fact, what you said just now, that potentially that the government is trying to hinder some people from helping Sowore perfect his bail.
Hello?
Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, good. Two things. I can hear you now. I said, you did say that the government is trying to hinder a lot of people trying to help Sowore to perfect his bail and the likes. Do you have hard facts to that? Can you bring this fact out? And secondly, are you confident about the fact that this time he will truly get the bail? You remember the last time the process was almost all done. All of a sudden, he was charged again and Sowore wasn't released. Are you sure that this time, if you get all the conditions right, that the bail will be perfected and Sowore will get his freedom? And the hard facts about people trying to prevent Sowore from getting people to help him perfect his bail.
Well, of course, the entire situation in Nigeria, is so sad that, people are, confused, and even though some people that will have come to offer, to, assist in the getting the bail, or, they are even, dejected, they are frustrated, and they are not really, hopeful. Even though when the bail is perfected, that the government will leave him. You can imagine the initial ruling that we got from Justice Taiwo that, ordered that he should be released. But yet the SSS, people are still holding on to him, disobeying the order of the court. So this time around, the people are, scared in a number of, ways. That even though some people come around now to assist us in the course of perfecting the bail, will he be released? That is the question number one. And you can imagine now the Nigerian situation now. The AFCC is, an arm of, the ruling party. going after people who are their, challengers in this situation, in this odd that we are finding ourselves in Nigeria. So those are the reasons, those are the issues surrounding the bail condition and people not coming out. Really, of course, we have some radicals who are volunteered to come actually, and we are hoping that before the week runs out, we actually perfect the bail. But a lot of people have expressed, displeasure that even though when we do a lot of the effort and get the bail perfected, and that the government is not sincere, the SSS people can still do what they are like, regardless of the efficacy of law and the order. They can still decide to flout the order of the court. And you can imagine that situation. People are not really enticed. A lot of people have gone out of this country in over frustration. What is happening in Nigeria right away is a situation. It's an anarchy. Let me so to say, it's a situation where we have the worst tyranny of democracy. Of course we tend to be in civil rule, but what the situation is more than the military rule. So that's the situation. You can imagine, before now, people will come out in a situation like this to fight for justice, to protest, to do, one thing or the other, trying to showcase to the government that they're displeased about their action. But you can imagine the whole country now is, silent, because they have their agents here and there to shunt anybody who's coming out to challenge the government. And you can, in fact, it's a pity that we are in Nigeria today. The situation in Nigeria currently is pitiful, and that is all about that. The issue of trying to, if it's released, addressing press or trying to, cause another insecurity, it's not even there, because the Constitution, we have our guidelines in the Constitution. The extent that the citizen can go, the limits to which he can protest and all that, are enshrined in the Constitution. So, and Sowore is a law-abiding, citizen. He knows all those things, and we feel that he will not even, violate law. It's unlike the government who violate law. The government only keeps the area that favors, them in our Constitution, or any order that is given by the court that favors them. That's what they keep to. Any order that is against them, that is frankly, against the government in their, illicit acts, they will disobey. So that is the situation in Nigeria now. Not that people are not in love with Sowore or people hate the revolution. Of course, the word revolution, just through all our constitution or all our laws in Nigeria, we don't have any area or any section that forbids anybody mentioning revolution. Of course, the government too have been, using revolution as a phenomenon to deal with issues that they feel needs, emergency.
Okay, Mr. Sowore, very quickly before we go, Mr. Sowore, very quickly before we go, you have been in to see him. He has been locked up for over 3 months. In about 15 seconds, can you just tell us how he's doing, his state of mind? How is he? He's been in here for a long time.
Well, of course, I visited him there, and the other time he came to court too, we spoke to each other as a friend, as a client, and as a brother. He's of high spirit. He knows the situation in Nigeria. He knows where in the dungeon we are, and I think he has prepared for it. He told me, confidentially, that he doesn't care whatever the government feels. What is
Thank you. Unfortunately, that's where we'll have to leave the conversation at this time. Thank you, Mr. Akin Sowore. We do wish you the best, and we'll keep our eyes on the Omorwan.
I'm Rafai Husseini.
And I'm Shaitan Atigari. Thank you for watching.